is a little trick. Clean the lens, and you've instantly got a clearer picture. Well, when I saw, I've got a bit of the COVID weeping, dropping everyone into breakout rooms. Oh, good morning, good morning.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, exactly. It's afternoon where you are, and here in London, it's just after, just into it. So thank you so much for joining us, and welcome everyone to the B Video Conference Show with me, Jola, the show where I speak with smartphone video experts, and we talk about what makes a great video maker. And also, I'm going to wheedle out some tips and tricks. So here's an expert. Let's find out what we can. Geertje.
Good job.
I've done it. We both met at the MOJO show earlier.
Yes.
When in the sun, it was sunny. It was a lovely sunny week.
Yes.
And
in London.
And you are an expert. You've been going, been connecting with the MOJO world since 2014, haven't you?
Yes, I actually, it seems so long ago, huh? Next year it will be 10 years.
Wow.
Actually, I had a career as a reporter and video journalist at the KRO-NCRV television. And I had just returned from maternity leave in 2014. And I was looking for a way to make my life easier because I was always carrying around equipment. I always had to, I felt like I always need to hustle to get stuff done. My workflow was very complicated. And because I just had a baby, I was looking for something to make my life easier. And then I stumbled upon this new thing, mobile journalism. And I thought, this is just perfect. It really fits my life at this moment. And I just Googled it, where can I do some training? And I found a excellent training at the European Broadcasting Union in Geneva. And it was run by Mark Egan, former BBC journalist. And I left my baby in my country for only 24 hours with, of course, the father. And I flew to Geneva to learn these new skills. And it was totally, even better than I was expecting. So from that on, it totally changed my life and the course of my career, basically.
Wow. Well, I'm really new to it. You're a journalist. My background is as a creative director, art director, making TV commercials, making corporate films. So I'm short form and you're long form, and we're storytellers in a different way. My storytelling is in 20 or 30 seconds, but you're really digging in there and shooting a lot and telling stories and finding stories. That's something I really want to explore with you today. So
I think the most stories I made for the Dutch television were like something between 3 minutes, something like 5, 6, 7 minutes, something like that. I would say under 10 minutes was my the main stories I told. And it was basically more human interest stories. So often stories about vulnerable communities, like immigrants, like people who had in some way a rough time. Sometimes I interviewed kids also, like immigrant kids. And people like from I'm trying to find a word. Sorry, my English. I would say people, sometimes who were not seen on TV, basically, who were not so apparent in the media. I made those stories, and even it happened a couple of times that people said, I don't want to be interviewed by a TV journalist, but I do want to be interviewed by a mobile journalist. And actually, it was both broadcasted on TV, so I always made that clear. But people I noticed it very quickly that people preferred the smartphone over a TV camera, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So they
And
really
they
opened up
let
to
me
you.
they let me into their lives because I came with my iPhone. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm just going to say a little bit about you. Geertje is a pioneer in mobile journalism, and this is I was just like blown away by this. In 2020, you're named in the top 40 most influential mobile journalists by University of Michigan. So
Yeah, this was in the middle of a COVID, so I was really happy with this news. I was like, "Oh, I need this."
oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. And so in 2016, you set up Geertje Algera Media. So that's your own business, a
Yes.
content creator and a smartphone video trainer based in Utrecht.
Yes.
Fantastic. And this is incredible. You trained over 4,500 people to use
Yeah.
a smartphone as a storytelling device. That must just blow you away.
Yes, I remember the first time when I started to count. Like I literally I just every invoice I was like, okay, that's 8 people, that's 10 people, that's 8 people, and I was like doing everything. And the first time I counted it, it was I think already over 2,000 people, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And
Wow.
most people they hire me for a 1 day training. And in that 1 day training, usually in the morning, I teach them how to use their smartphone as a professional camera. And in the afternoon, we learn how to edit on their smartphone device, either iPhone or an Android, it doesn't really matter. So basically, after 1 day training, they can make their own stories. And sometimes it's like more your length, like 30 seconds. Sometimes it's like 1 minute, 2 minutes. Stories either about their business if they're an entrepreneur, or about their company they work at, or sometimes they work for like a NGO or something like that, or a something like
Mm.
that, a charity, and they have to make stories about that.
Yeah, yeah. So we've actually got a comment here from Rogue Opera. Really interesting. I guess people feel less intimidated by mobile filming. So
Yeah.
that's using it as a filming device
Yeah.
as well as being filmed by.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Ah,
For me, it's more low key to film that way. And for people in front of the camera, it's more, they feel more relaxed. I guess it shouldn't make any difference if you take a big camera or a small camera, but I just notice it does make a difference.
it
And
makes a
also,
massive difference.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if you also, of course, if you want to do, in the Netherlands, we call it vlogging. I think in English it's more like video blogging. Then I also feel like if you learn how to film yourself, it can also empower you. For example, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't want to hire a camera crew to make a reels, an Instagram reels for you, or a video to go on your website, on your sales page or whatever. And it can be really empowering to learn how to make videos yourself.
I
So that's
totally
basically what I
agree.
try to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. When I started, because I was trained, I was a trainer for Thompson Foundation,
Yeah.
and we did a course, a MOJO course, and I'd heard so much about it, working with journalists, talking about MOJO and, getting excited. And then it just opened up this love of film for me. And I started filming, and I just felt really, really empowered.
Hmm.
And my video making got better and better. And
Really?
then yeah, absolutely. Because 'cause I'd always had, like, a DOP, I had assistant, I had a lighting guy, I had a sound guy, I had runners,
So many
it
people.
so
Yeah.
many people. And suddenly, I've just me and my phone
Hmm.
and my vision,
Yeah.
and suddenly it's opening up my vision, and I get better and better every time I do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with you. And it comes to my first question is what makes a compelling story? And we've kind of half answered this. It's like, how did it Mojo smartphone journalism empower your video storytelling? So what makes a really good story?
Um, for me, a story that didn't get told before, basically was hard to make before. like for example, there was like a prayer room opened at the University of Amsterdam, and there was literally there were 3 camera crews outside because they wanted to film this new prayer room, because it was a little bit controversial, you know, do we need a prayer room at the university? Nowadays you would say, you know, diversity and inclusion, this is pretty good, but this was like 10 years ago, so it was a little bit controversial. And there were 3 camera crews outside, and they didn't let the camera crews in, and I was like, well, I'm just here with my phone, can I enter? And they were like, yeah, you're welcome to go inside. So I made that. And also just people of vulnerable communities who let me into their house, you know, not necessarily yeah, I would say like people from maybe a neighborhood that's not so, you know, not so fancy, children who maybe never been on TV, in general, people who don't have any media or camera experience, I would say. And I would like, I would make these kind of stories of people who've not been in the media or in the newspaper or on TV, but they did have a story to tell about their lives. And usually, actually, I made positive stories. So stories about people who had a successful business, or like I remember shooting a story about like one of the first influencers in the Netherlands. And actually, she was very successful, and I filmed her, and yeah, it was a success story, and people loved
Wow.
it.
Wow.
People loved it, yeah.
And you've recently been filming, because I you know, we're connected on social media, and I love your LinkedIn feed. I love it.
Thank you.
So I would recommend anyone who wants to follow, start following. There we go. And there's
Most is in Dutch though, but yeah.
now
You
you
can always
film.
hit translate on Instagram.
You can, and
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. I did today.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
excellent.
yeah, because you did a long blog post, and I was like, what's she saying?
And you
And
could translate it? Oh,
yeah. First of all,
excellent.
first I went to Google Translate, and
Yeah.
then when I went back to the post, LinkedIn had done a translation.
Excellent, excellent.
Mm. So you were filming at a farm.
Yes,
So
earlier,
tell us about that. Tell us
2
about
weeks
that whole
ago.
experience.
Yeah. Well, I got a call in December, and they said like, well, we have a filming assignment in January, and we would like you to do it. It was from an organization that's into organic farming, like with, you know, where the animals have free space, and you know, all like the natural organic way. And actually, I don't do a lot of filming anymore, because I mostly do trainings. But this, it triggered me. I was like, wow, cows, because I grew up on a dairy farm in the north of the Netherlands. And I was like, oh, this really sounds fun, to spend one day at a farm, at an organic farm, and film between the cows. And I immediately thought, you know, I want a behind the scenes video from that. So I called Esther, who I got to know also through social media. And I knew she was like, you know, she is kind of talented. And I was like, well, would you like to shoot me shooting the cows? And she was like, yeah, I'll go with you. So we were kind of smelly at the end of the day, I have to say. But we were like between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. We shot a, well, how could I say it? Basically, it was like a speech, and the speech was held while the cows were listening, and the speech was about the future of farming, like where should we take it from now, you know, of course, with all the environmental things going on nowadays.
Mm.
So basically, it was not, maybe it was not so challenging on the content, but the location was very challenging. And yeah, the cows just, like, you know, they just are very curious. So when we were filming, the cows would come up and, like, you know, lick my clothing or the equipment or the tripod, you know, try to push the tripod away. So it was, yeah, it was something else, but it was a lot of fun. And I was outside for the entire day. So it's very good for your sleep to do that.
Yeah,
I can recommend
absolutely.
it.
But something I find really interesting is you had somebody film you, because I know when you're working and you want to do a video about yourself as a videographer,
Yeah.
it's like, how do you get those shots?
I
And
would say follow EO Visuals. EO Visuals. That was Esther who shot me. She does a lot of videos also on herself. I would say I do it most of the time but this time I thought, let's work together with somebody else. It's also fun to sometimes work together. When I film myself throughout the day, I usually, actually, I would say with the smartphone, it's the easiest. You can either use a tripod and put the camera in the room somewhere, or you could put your phone sometimes and put it like close to the window or something to get a good shot, or just film yourself on the go. But of course then you have to do two things at the same time, right? You have to make your own story and then make the story about behind the scenes. So I would say it's that's rough, but it's doable. It's doable.
yeah.
I do have to say that I do own 3 iPhones. So sometimes I use a second iPhone.
Yeah, and it's really good because this is a little during lockdown, I upgraded.
Yes.
So just before lockdown, I upgraded, and I thought, well, I'll save my new phone. So I was using my old phone, and
Uh-huh.
then I thought, great. And for a while, I was able to film using 2 phones because I had my
Uh-huh.
old phone and my new one.
Uh-huh.
Except the day that I was being so blasé about filming, and I dropped it down the loo. So that was the end of
Oh,
that.
oh.
So
But
back
you
to one
dropped your
phone.
old phone though.
I did drop the old.
Good, 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 good. So then you were forced to make the switch to the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So no looking back since then.
yeah, yeah. I do recommend that if you have, if you want to do a lot of video making as an entrepreneur, I do recommend, keep your old phone or ask somebody, ask around. There's a lot of people who have like an iPhone 7 or an iPhone 8 just laying around somewhere somewhere in a drawer. And
Brilliant.
ask if you can have it, or you can buy it for maybe, in the Netherlands it would be maybe 50 euro or 100 euro. It's very handy to have a second phone, especially if you want to make these behind the scenes shots.
Brilliant.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
work with a student and ask them, could you, like a journalism student, like, would you like to follow me around for a day and see how I work? And then you maybe have your free shots.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. That's a very good tip. Okay, second question. You have a book. You've written a book, Create Professional Videos with your say in Dutch.
Professionele video's maken met je smartphone.
Excellent. And it
It's
is going to
a
be soon.
it's a long sentence. Yeah, I can show you a little bit. It's like kind of like full color, see, with all kinds of pictures and stuff like that.
Great.
And that was actually, it was like my COVID baby, because in 2020 I already had this idea to write a book for maybe, I don't know, maybe like 5 years or something like that. But of course, I was busy doing trainings and stuff like that. And it's really the cliche. It was a lockdown and I was thought, what do I want to do? I want to write a book. So I proposed my idea to a couple of publishers. And luckily, Nubis from the Netherlands, he said, well, I'm very interested. And I started writing. It was hard, but it was also fun. And really, I realized that I didn't have to do any research because I already know, I actually know what I'm talking about. So I really had to get everything from my mind onto paper, basically in the computer. And then my publisher, of course, he edited it and he made all the, the colorful, how do you say? Yeah, vormgeving. I don't know, what is it in
the graphics?
Yeah, all the graphics. My publisher made it. And of course, I had to. And there's also videos in the book, because some people say like, well, it doesn't make any sense. Why are you writing a book about video making? But there is 8 QR codes in the book, and you can scan them, of course. And so there's like 8 videos as a added bonus in the book. So that is
Brilliant.
yeah.
I think QR codes have got a real renaissance. It was a few years ago when they
Yeah,
appeared. That's it,
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah,
We've just made a TV commercial, it's going out soon,
yeah,
and on the TV commercial, there is a QR code,
yeah,
and it's like, why didn't we do this before? I mean, I know why we didn't, because it didn't really work, but now that phones have got the capability,
yes,
it's just opened up this whole possibility of having video
yeah.
on such an easy link.
I actually, on my next business card, I also want a QR code. Yeah. I remember there was a time when QR codes were just like on airplane tickets, basically. That was the only place I would see them.
Yeah,
And
I
then
went yeah.
suddenly, bam, they were like everywhere.
Yeah, when I was at Molyneux post-production, we had a business card and
Mhm.
it was like, "Oh, it's gonna have this QR code with our show reel." It never worked.
No?
You know, it was the link would go, but, there's been a change in the software, particularly with
Yeah.
iPhones,
It's
where
quicker.
it's quicker, you get that connection because there's a reader built in. You don't
Yeah.
have to go to an app
Separate app.
to
Yeah.
read
That
it.
made a huge difference. Yeah.
Massive,
Yeah.
massive. I've got a little comment here from Carly Henner. "I didn't think about that. I have a spare phone, so I'll be using that now."
Excellent, Carly.
Excellent, wonderful. Oh, and we have Maria Ward, "Me too."
Excellent. This is, it makes me happy to read that it actually makes use what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, thank you. So how can we all, when it's, for the Dutch people watching this now,
Mhm.
you can buy the book and make the most of it. Soon we will in English. So tell me, tell me, how can we make the most of your book?
Well, find me a publisher in Great Britain or in Ireland or in the United States or Canada, I guess. Yeah, it would be fun to get it actually translated. But if not, I give trainings internationally, so you can always hire me. Of course, you can hire you too, Jola. And yeah, I would say there's so much nowadays on social media. There's so much free things out there. Like I have a YouTube channel, you have a YouTube channel. There's lots of people who have YouTube channels on video content creation. If
Yeah.
it's for Instagram, LinkedIn, um, basically everything. So there's so much free stuff out there. Um, yeah, that of course, if you do a training, I do hear from people that they're struggling, to find the good resources on the internet. And if you have like a one-day training, or if you follow a program, like you have your program, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
mine's quite different because mine's focusing on the confidence
yeah,
and to getting people confident
yeah,
because I wasn't. I was always the creative in the background.
yeah,
I wasn't coming forward to be on camera.
yeah,
So getting over that confidence
yeah,
was a big thing for me.
yeah,
And that's what people learn in my course is to
yeah.
be confident. And it's kind of different from what you're doing. What you're doing is really
More the
that
technical stuff.
storytelling.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
storytelling. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Well, I have to say that you don't have to spend any money. You can just learn it from watching YouTube videos, watching tutorials like on TikTok, on Instagram. There's so much out there nowadays. But I do hear that it depends a little bit of your way of learning, but some people they prefer to learn in a group and really push each other. Let's do it, let's stand in front of the camera, let's make those shots. And it depends of what kind of person you are, I guess. But yeah,
But Hertz, I think it's also about time, because
yeah,
I had to, I did a course, and then I had to just scour the internet looking for stuff. It was lockdown.
yeah,
It's like, how do I light? What do I do? And it's
yeah,
so confusing. And
yeah,
I ended up buying too many things,
yeah,
too many
totally,
lights. Oh, that doesn't work. That's rubbish.
yeah,
And what I try to do in my course is just to give people that confidence to say, look, this is great kit. It worked for
yeah,
me,
yes,
and let's try it together.
yeah,
And if you haven't got masses of time, then this is a shortcut to
yes,
getting those skills, and then it's practice.
yeah, of course it's practice too. Yeah, Yeah, I would say that, of course, if you have to do all the research yourself, and it's possible, but it does take time. Find yourself a video trainer that is, I guess, specialized in, I would say, preferably in smartphone content creation, and see if they have like online program or a 1 day training or maybe a two day training. And yeah, the thing is that if one if you don't have the skill, maybe you don't really miss it or something like that, but if you do have it, it will give you so much power to create your own content and not be dependent on anybody else to make your videos. So I think nowadays it's a skill for life. It will help you to make videos even for your family or from your holiday, or maybe if you're doing some volunteer work, you can make videos. But also professionally, it can, you need videos nowadays to promote your business, to promote your products, to, the video. We live in the video area basically. And
Yeah, it's
without
wonderful.
video, yeah, for us it's good. I'm happy.
I'm
But
happy.
yeah, I think, it can be such an empowering course to a skill to acquire. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as a woman, I became more empowered,
Yes. Me
um, and
totally.
and I felt that my voice was being heard.
Yes.
I had something to say, and
Yeah.
I don't. I see things, and I film them
Yeah.
when I see them, and then I share them,
Yes.
and I get response, and I think, oh, there are people like me who like this, and I've definitely become much more. Um, I feel more powerful. That my
Yeah.
voice is worth listening to.
Yeah.
And it's not always when I'm just not complaining, but it's when I've got something really positive to say as well,
Yeah.
"Isn't this just wonderful? I really wanna share this with you."
Hmm.
And it's just great, and just do it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna ask my 3rd question.
Right.
What tips can you share to be better video storytellers? So, a real, like, storytelling, because that's your strength. And which apps do you recommend for smartphone video makers?
um what tips can I share for people who want better, to become better video storytellers? Is that a lot of people, they edit videos in a chronological order, and I would say if you want to be a storyteller, you have to start with your most powerful shot, with your most funny thing you say, maybe with a blooper or something really emotional, something like that. And this was really an old way of editing, is to start with, the entrance, to start at the beginning of the day and then make a report throughout the day. I would say if you want to be a great storyteller, you need to let go of chronological order and throw things around, and also throw stuff out of the report. um
Interesting. Wow.
yeah, and I would say that the best stories are the things where you feel some kind of like pain or fun or anger, or if you want to call somebody and say like, I cannot believe what just happened to me, that is, the time where you can grab your camera and tell your audience about it. So yeah, and
Interesting.
don't hesitate about it. The thing is, a lot of people ask me like, well, what should I film and what should I not film? Just film it. You can always decide later on, do I want to publish it or not? But when you feel something, when you feel some kind of like positive emotion or maybe negative emotion, film it. Film it, what's happening with you. Film how you feel about it. And I learned that this is really the best stories to tell. And what apps can I recommend? Well, I do all the shooting just in the regular camera app, because some people tell you like you need this expensive app, to film in. I really don't do that. I film, I would say 99% in the regular camera app. And for editing also, I'm kind of like a simple woman. You can edit in TikTok, you can edit in Instagram Reels, in Instagram, there is actually a built-in video app. It's called Reels. It's free. You don't really need anything else. If you want to make a horizontal video, more like the YouTube classical way, you can use iMovie if you have an iPhone. It's really simple. And I also use Quick a lot. I will write it in the chat. But I also like the Quick app a lot. But yeah, it's a personal, I think. Some people hate Quick and some people like it, but I kind of tend to like it. But I would say nowadays you don't need anything else besides Reels and TikToks, actually. And YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts is, I think, going to be a huge thing this year. Yeah. It's all about short form video content.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. That's really, really interesting. I've not used Shorts at all. Is that just kind of easy to access? And
well, what you can do, you can either make Reels or TikToks and just download them and then put them on YouTube, for example, that kind of workflow. But there's actually also a kind of editing thing in Shorts. But I haven't used it. People tell me it's kind of like, TikTok is the most advanced, then it is Reels, and then it is YouTube Shorts. So YouTube Shorts is really, it works, but it's a kind of, how do you say, it's still developing, I would say, the app. But I was actually pretty surprised that there is an editing software in YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, I had read about it, but I must admit, there's so many things around. It's really good to talk to people who've actually tried it.
Yeah. I haven't tried it myself, but I hear from people that it's like very low level, easy, but kind of like, still developing. So I would say, if you make TikTok and Reels, you'll be ready also for YouTube Shorts.
Brilliant. Yeah. And Quick, what's that like? Is that easy to get
to
know?
Yeah, it's an app owned by GoPro. So actually, I should write GoPro Quick. Your first project is free. After that, it's in the Netherlands, it's €10 per year, and it uses like automated editing. So if you have like a day and you did lots of things during the day, you can all like throw them in the app, and the app will edit something for you automatically.
Joking me.
Yeah, and then if you don't like it, you can adjust it a bit. It's a little bit like, have you tried iMovie? What is it called? It also has some kind of thing in iMovie. Do you use iMovie?
I all the way through lockdown, I used iMovie, and what I was disappointed with was when you export, it was always such a massive file. Really big file. So I started using Filmora.
Filmora Go, yeah.
And I love Filmora. I could do so many layers, and coming from a graphics background, I love putting on graphics layers.
Yeah.
I love all the branding. That's my background is branding and graphic design a long time ago.
But you like that. Yeah, you need that in an app. The graphics in iMovie are like horrible. So yeah, but I just looked it up in iMovie, but iMovie has something called magical film, where you also throw everything in and iMovie will edit it for you. So it's just a fun thing to play around with. It's not really editing because it's like more automated editing. But for like a quick like event video or like how was my day, it can it is. I think it's nice to use. And I would always recommend people like learn two apps. Two apps is always very nice. So if one, like, sometimes it happens, it just like disappears from the app store. It could happen that Filmora just kind of like bam and it's gone. You always kind of have a backup system. So for example, if you know how to edit in like iMovie and Reels, you are, you're safe to go. Or like Filmora and TikTok, you have a safe combination, and you always have an escape if one like appears from the Google Play Store or the App Store.
Yeah, really good. Now we've got a comment here from Carly. So interesting. Not for chronological order. Oh, I'll mix it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, about mixing it up. I mean, I'd never thought about that, not the chronological, but just in terms of storytelling, go for
Yeah.
the big
Yeah.
hook.
I always say, like, let's say there's an event. I live in Utrecht. We have like a conference center, like very close by. And let's say there's an event, and you tell the whole day in chronological order. But the thing is, at the end of the day, Queen Maxima is a guest speaker. It would make perfect sense to start with the Queen, because she's the most, big thing happening that day. So yeah, it's difficult. But yeah, I will challenge you to throw things around in the edits.
Wow, that's a challenge. That's a challenge. After this show, mix it up.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Wow, it has been so, so fantastic to speak to you.
Sorry
And
for the lighting, by the way. It's I have a little bit struggle with the lightning.
well, look, it's you've been working all day and you've nipped out to do this. I really appreciate it. And it's just so lovely to hook up with you. It
Thank
really
you for
is.
inviting me on your show.
And it's very kind and generous, and that's what I really like about you as a person, is your courses must be fantastic because you are such a generous person and such an open person and easy to connect with.
Thank you.
We met on a course and we spoke for 5 minutes, and we're still in touch, and it's just wonderful.
I really feel like the entire mobile journalism community is very, yeah, they all help each other. We have a Facebook group. I think there's like 7,000 or 8,000 mobile journalists in there. And we all help each other out. So I think that maybe is like one of the characteristics of a mobile journalist is yeah, you do everything yourself, and you have to be a problem solver, and you have to be yeah, you have to be able to work with other people and level with them, with all kinds of people. So
Wow.
I think in general, the Mojo community, if you run into any problem, they will be willing to help you out. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you so much. And if you like this show, please tick
Yes.
like when you watch it on YouTube, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, because this is going to live on YouTube for a while, which is wonderful. And
Yes.
and thank you so, so much. Real pleasure. And I'm very pleased that it's not lovely and sunny in Utrecht today, because I'd be very jealous of you.
It's cloudy. It's a bit cloudy with a bit of sun. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
on that, bye bye to everyone.
Bye.